In Joshua chapter 2, when Rahab is talking to the spies that she's helping hide as they're scouting out the city of Jericho, I think Rahab said something that may have surprised the spies. When she looked at them and she said, "We heard what God did when He divided the waters of the Red Sea and you walked through on dry ground. And we heard what God did when you were fighting against the Amorites." And she said, "We heard these things and we were terrified." Like they convinced us that your God is God, that your God is the Lord, the God who saves. And I wonder if that surprised them because, they didn't have social media feeds, they didn't have worldwide news that they could tune into to see what was going on from moment to moment and day to day. They didn't have a lot of those things, and yet somehow God got the message to Rahab and everybody else in Jericho that these things had happened, and God really set the scene for these spies to come in and find a safe place and an ally that they probably weren't expecting. And I want you to think about how those spies were probably feeling back when they were facing the Red Sea before God divided it, or back when they knew they were going to have to go up against the Amorites. In many cases, they were feeling afraid and worried. They doubted that they were going to be okay. And yet God not only cared for them and provided exactly what they needed miraculously at that moment, but He was already thinking about what they would need in the future. How they would need Rahab and the rest of the city of Jericho to hear the news about what God did so that they would be so in awe of Israel's God that they would side with Him. God took care of them in the present, and He was also already thinking about their future, and in a way that those spies and the rest of the Israelites would never have anticipated. And that's really good news. If you're afraid of something in the present, if you're worried, if you're doubtful that you're going to be okay, it's a reminder that God is not only thinking about you in the present, and He already has His plans for how He's going to provide everything that you need, but He's also thinking about your future, already taking whatever steps He needs to provide down the road what, in many cases, you would never know how to provide for yourself. That's why Jesus tells us in the book of Matthew, you don't need to worry about your life. Your Heavenly Father knows what you need. And He says, seek first His kingdom and His righteousness. All the things that you need will be given to you. All of it. Your Heavenly Father knows what you need today and down the road. You're going to be okay. Rest well tonight, my friends.